Hey guys, dolls and plastics, and welcome to yet another video. Today we're transforming this Wild Hearts Crew doll into a pumpkin spice autumn doll. So today I'm taking this Wild Hearts Crew. Her name is Charlie Lake. Yes, Charlie Lake. And I got her pretty discounted, I think from Ross. She was about $7. And she's actually not bad, especially for Mattel. We all know how I feel about Mattel. But her outfit is kind of so we're going to completely transform this. So let's go through all the typical things. Taking off the head. Look at that scraping action. Ooh, big chunk. This hair is actually pretty nice, so I saved it for later. Maybe we'll use it for another doll custom down the line. So let's remove her face up using, as usual, 100% acetone. And I actually like to save the face ups for dolls that I use. So I try to wipe it off the first one undisturbed, and there it is. And let's clean up the rest of her head, make sure we get every nook and cranny. And we're going to be using this acrylic yarn by Lion brand. It's actually a nice gingery color. I really love it. So I'm actually going to reroot it. I know, pretty unconventional for yarn hair, but I'm going to give it a go. So let's paint the base of the head first with the orange color and make our yarn wefts. So here I'm actually making my own rerooting tool. I take an old sewing needle and I just cut it at a 45-degree angle, and then I just sand it down to make a point, and I just placed it in this tiny drill thing, and you're all set to go. So I separated all the yarn hair because it would have been insanely thick, but even then, it's a lot of hair, guys. Look at all that hair. And right here, I accidentally rerooted too close, so we got a bit of a tear.
Oh no!
I go in with some urethane glue and then reroot it again. And now I'm just using fabric tack to glue all those wefts in. And now is the long, arduous task of brushing out this hair. Now, this was quite an experience. I don't know if I would recommend this unless you go for a really, really thick hairstyle, because it took a lot of work. I didn't have the pet brushes that you're supposed to use at first, so it took quite a while. And then eventually I just went out and bought one because it was just taking so long. And as soon as I had a pet brush, the process was so much faster. And now that it's all brushed out, I just straighten up all the hair to make it all nice and clean, and we'll be restyling it later on. Now, I prep the body by sanding it down. I use some 400 wet dry sandpaper, and this is just to get rid of all the mold release because I want to add a little bit of blushing and this just makes the paint adhere to the plastic just a bit more. And then once it's all sanded down, just give it a nice clean with some 99% alcohol or 91% alcohol. This is just to get all the plastic out. And now it's time for body blushing. So I just take my pastels and I just mix in a few different colors, some reds and oranges, and then just start blushing wherever you would see a shadow. So, you know, along the hips, along the knees, along the belly button, just all that. It just adds a little bit of color, a little bit of life, because, you know, no one's skin tone is just one flat color. And I really like how it turned out, so let's keep blushing. And usually I don't like dolls with molded on underwear, but I didn't want to go through the trouble of sanding off all the underwear because it would have just taken too long. So I just went with it and I just painted the underwear so it at least looked nice. So I just went with a nice, you know, red bra and panty. And then I go in with some makeup and blush her all the way around. This just gives her a nice sheen and a nice shininess, but not like a fake shiny, like a nice little, you know. And you can't do a doll custom without doing nails. I love doing nails. I wish more dolls came with painted on nails, but you know, you can't have everything. So here we are, giving her a nice manicure. And now it's time for the face up. So for her makeup look, I was really inspired by Instagram influencers. I looked at a whole bunch of makeup trends for fall. I was really inspired by this Instagrammer. I'm not really sure how to say it. It's Nian. And her Instagram is all about wigs that she sells, and I just really love her makeup looks and I love her wigs. And she has quite a few autumn feels, so I really wanted to replicate this look that I'm posting right here. It has all the fall colors, all the pumpkin colors that just remind me of like pumpkin spice and, you know, what you would see someone who drinks pumpkin spice, i.e. me, wearing on a normal fall day. Here I am just sketching out where I want the eyes, and then I just go in with pastels and just start blending in the eyeshadow using a mixture of like oranges and browns and just blending it in, blend. And this is actually my first face up that I've ever done where I've actually drawn in eyes. And I have to admit, I was very scared because I'm actually not much of a drawer. I know, it's funny. I mean, I do a lot of art, but most of my art doesn't involve actual drawing. I do a lot of like 3D sculptures, crafting, costuming. I don't work a lot with like 2D and drawing, so this was quite a challenge for me. And I mean, you could see I do make great use of the eraser. She was a savior. And here it is with the black eyeliner. And this is just the first layer, guys. There are quite a few more layers after this. And I really wanted the eyebrows to be very strong, very graphic, and they did take quite a few tries because I have a very big problem with symmetry. So this was the first iteration. As you can see, they are definitely strangers. They don't know each other. And now I'm just blushing the head using pastels, mixtures of browns and oranges. For the makeup, I also use real makeup. I use this highlighter. I'm not entirely sure where it is. It's just something I have in my kit. It's really cheap. It's probably from a dollar store. I just put it where I want more of like highlight and more of that pow. So I don't know about you guys, but I am obsessed with fall. It might be because I was actually born in fall. My birthday just passed. I was actually born on Thanksgiving, and I've always loved fall as a kid. I love the cold weather. Growing up in LA, you hardly ever get any cold weather. So anytime it was more chilly and it was windy, that's when I was most happiest and I came alive, because it was like, oh, finally, it's cold. And here I am, you can see I whited out the eyes because I did not like the placements. They were looking a bit like Kennedy Davenport or Chameleon. So I started to redraw the eyes again, and I'm glad I did. You know, it's all about trial and error. This definitely was an experience for me, but I'm really happy with what I created. And for the lips, I really wanted a very dark purple, very matte lip. So I used the Q-tip dipped in a little bit of acetone, and this allowed me just to erase the eyebrow just a little bit, because I realized I messed up the eyebrow when I already sprayed with Mr. Super Clear. So the only way to go back was to use just the tiniest bit of acetone and a tiny Q-tip and just erase it very, very gently. And now I'm just adding more body blushing to the clavicle and chest area, and more highlighting. And the image that I was very inspired by, she actually had freckles, and I just really, really love freckles, so I just decided to just add some freckles. With the green eyes, it just really, really pops, I think. Now, doing a face-up is very much like doing makeup. It's all about creating layers and a foundation, and then just adding more and more pigments until you get what you want. You have to be patient, guys. I mean, that's how I work. I know a lot of people just like to go right in, but me personally, I'm not that type of person. I like to map things out and go lighter, and then add more and more intense colors as I go on. I really love fall, and I love pumpkin spice. As a matter of fact, every year for my birthday, I would always get a pumpkin pie instead of a cake, because I'm not a huge cake person. I love pies and cheesecakes and stuff like that. So I would always look forward for my birthday to get that very first or last pumpkin pie. Here we go. We are really bringing out the colors, painting the whites of the eyes. This really, really made it come together. As soon as I added that white paint, you really saw the eyes just pop out of nowhere. And then I just add the catch lights And it does take a few layers. I thinned down the paint quite a bit so it goes on smooth and you don't get all that bubbliness. And then over the lips, I decided to paint it as well because the watercolor pencils weren't really giving me the color that I liked, so I just mixed in some acrylic and just painted on the lips, and now I'm very, very happy with the lip color. And now I'm adding the eyelashes, and actually I added them way too early, as you'll see. So now let's move on to sewing. Now, this is probably the easiest and fastest way to create a pattern. I've actually done costume for several years, so I know how to draft a pattern. But if a pattern already exists, why would I spend the time drafting it? So I just took pants and a shirt from another Wild Hearts crew girl, I don't remember which one, and I just traced it out and modified it the way I wanted. I wanted a side seam because the pants didn't have a side seam, and I just added the pockets and where I wanted all the things to be placed. And it's the same with the sweater. I just copied the shirt pattern and then just modified it the way I wanted. For the fashion, I actually used baby clothes and kids clothes. I actually went to like a Goodwill and just shopped around looking for the colors that I needed, and I found this amazing sweater. It was only like $2, so I decided to get it, and it was like the right scale. And then from there, I just built on the outfit. I found corduroy pants that were for little boys, and then these little girl jeans, and they were all perfect scale and the perfect colors that I wanted. And here I am drafting out the corduroy jacket. I really wanted it to look like a real corduroy jacket. So, as you can see, it's in many, many pieces. Alright, and let's get to sewing. So, for knits, I really, really hate sewing knits. They are very hard to do. So, this is the best way I've found to get the cleanest seams that you can. I use this water-soluble glue, and I just glue on the seams, and then I use some tissue paper underneath, and this prevents it from stretching out so much that you just get a wobbly seam and it just doesn't look very professional, very clean. And then for the bottom of the sweater, I actually added just a little tiny bit of elastic just so it had some bounce back. The sweater was so old it had no more elasticity, so it would stretch out and it would not stretch back in. And now I'm just working on the jeans, adding the pockets and all the stitching detail. This is just a very quick overview. I mean, if you guys really want to see how I do costumes in total detail, let me know and maybe I'll do a tutorial on how to make your own fashions. But it is a lot of practice, it's a lot of patience. You're just seeing the best results. Like, it took a lot of me testing out the different stitch lengths and the different tensions to get the right look and the right scale that I wanted. And that water-soluble pen, guys, I highly recommend it. You just put it in water after you're done sewing and it completely disappears. And now I'm just working on the corduroy jacket, which was actually the easiest thing to sew because it was a woven fabric, so there was no stretch, and it was all just straight lines. So it was just straight line, straight line, straight line. And I actually really love corduroy jackets. I was very inspired by this influencer or this picture that I found on Pinterest. I really love corduroy jackets. I have my own. And now I'm just sewing on the collar and doing all the stitching detail that you always see in corduroy jackets. So for the fashion, I just really wanted my girl to look like, you know, she came back from Starbucks. It's just very casual, you know, very streetwear, denim, you know, very industrial fabrics. Nothing too light and airy, just like corduroys and cottons and knits, just stuff that you would wear every day. This actually usually isn't my style, but I really wanted to challenge myself to make a fashion doll, like a truly fashion doll that represented street fashions that I see every day. And now I'm just adding these buttons. They were actually like mini studs, so they were actually supposed to be hammered in all the way, but I didn't hammer them in all the way, and they just looked exactly like corduroy buttons. Now this actually took probably the longest amount of time out of everything. I had so much hair. It was so much hair. And I just decided I wanted to go for a really curly style, very airy, very like blowing in the wind. So I just decided to curl all the hair, and it took quite a long time. I used a metal straw, and then I would just wrap the hair around the straw and then just put my mini straightener on it for like 30 seconds or less and just, you know, let it go. I really love yarn hair. I love the way it looks. It's like more perfect to scale. The problem is that I use too much. So now I know it's a learning experience, guys. You guys are learning with me. So if you guys want to do this, I would just recommend using less yarn. So separating the yarn and then separating it again, and then, you know, root the hair with that instead of doing what I did. But I still love the hair. It's very, very fluffy, very soft, and very silky. And you know, after I was curling the hair for a while, I just decided, hey, I'm gonna go with the poofy hair. You know, she's supposed to represent pumpkin spice, and pumpkins are big and round and orange. So let's just go for big, poofy hair. Alright, here she is, guys. So I wrapped her in some cellophane overnight, and this was just to flatten out the hair just a little bit more so it wasn't puffing out so much. It looked alright, but it looked like a helmet, so I just messed around with the hair a bit just so it wasn't so helmet looking. And I'm really in love with it, so let's get her dressed. We got so many layers, guys. We got the jeans, we got the sweater, we got the jacket. Oh, and for the shoes, there was another Wild Hearts crew that had these like Vans type shoes, so I just decided to use those. I just painted them white. There you go. We have our look, guys. So guys, that was my autumn custom. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to give this video a like. Please share it with your friends. I am so happy that we finally reached 100 subscribers. Let's aim for 1,000 subscribers. I know we can do it, guys. I know we can do it. Now, if you want to watch Rachel reacting to this doll, just make sure to click the video in the description. And also, make sure to stick around and watch Rachel's custom, where she does an amazing Corn Mother Native American inspired doll. It's very beautiful, guys.